Hi gardeners, and we finally get a break today. We've got a beautiful cool day, a lot of nice wind, sun, air temperature about 80 degrees, just about perfect for gardening. And this is the September tour. You're going to see a garden that has changed a lot in the past month. First, we're going to show you some of the victories. The secondary jade beans are really beginning to produce now. As we can see, almost hand length. We'll pick some more and I'll show you when to pick. And after our hornworm infestation, we're getting some nice tomatoes back. Smaller than before. We understand that. It's been a little bit drier. So these are fine tomatoes. They're just not the 1-pounders that we're used to. And that happens sometimes. So let's go take a look at the garden. First big change is right here in bed number 1. We have had a very bad vine borer infestation on all of our squash this year. 7 dust kept them down, but they're back again. You can see that they're even boring into the fruit, so that one's no good. I caught a couple of holes here early, and what I did is I just sprayed BT spray into those holes, and the little larvae came right out and got rid of them. So all of these fruits, which are small, that's just a little bit of dirt. This one's okay, it's just going to be small. But you can see what's happened to the rest of the vines. We're hoping that these will mature before the vines totally die off. These will be small, but they have now been treated with BT spray. They're not being eaten into. That one's a goner. That could be saved, but small. This is reducing our yield a lot, and pests do that. But one of our nice victories has been the resurgence of beans. A lot of these beans are being saved for seed. That's a pretty one right there. This also. So the bed that we planted a long time ago is producing beans, but we're not eating these. That is certainly a good eating size bean. We want to save the best to make seeds for next year. Bed 3 over here is the beans that were really going for human consumption. Now, I've told you in the past, we have wind here. Take a look at this plant and how it's been knocked over by the wind. But you can see the good fruit that's still on it here. So we're going to pick these because they're in danger of touching the ground. And if they're touching the ground, then pests will eat them. Especially this one. A very nice bean, but he was curled over on the surface. So all these beans, nice one, that are touching the ground, we will harvest. And there's more here. You can see how this one has laid over, and a lot of good beans on it. This one has laid over too, and magnificent beans underneath. Guess what we're having for dinner? The best way to pull a bean is to pull upwards, because if you pull down, you can actually damage this whole stalk here. It can rip off. If I pulled down, I could break this off and lose everything back to here. If I pull up, it just comes off nicely, just off that stalk there. These beans are flowering, but no production yet, and that's because these were planted 2 or 3 weeks after these. He is still a wee thin. I'm going to let him go. We don't have to harvest everything. There. So there's 4 or 5 plants. And there's a nice harvest of beans for tonight's side. Excellent color to them too. I very much recommend jade beans. They're an open pollinating source, so you can hold on to the seeds for next year. And there's what we've gotten for today. It's a bit in the shadow. There we are. Now we're going to go take a look at our tomatoes. Remember, we had a very bad combination of blight and hornworm. Part of the blight is we did not trim the stalks high enough off the ground. And so this disturbed the airflow, became moist in there. And this gave a lot of diseases a chance to work. And then we got hornworms, which is why these bushes have been cut down to here by the hornworms. And so this is all very new growth. And as you can see, new flowers where we can hope to get something out of it. Some more right there. And up here near the top. These are the grape tomato side. This is the heirloom full tomatoes. The left one is a black crim, which doesn't look like it's producing anymore. And the others are boxcar willies. We've talked about boxcar willie. It's an older variety of tomato, been around a long time. A decent sized tomato. Here's one that's turning, but very small. I'm going to take a chance. Normally I like to ripen them inside, otherwise I'm just giving birds food. That's what's happened to this small one. You can see the hole right there. So I'm going to go ahead and snip him off. And remember, just because he's got that hole there doesn't mean he can't be useful. Let's see if I can make it into the compost bin. Hits and rolls out, just like all my shots. So it will give its nutrients back to the pile. Again, vine borers have hit our summer squash. We had a good harvest of them, but they're getting tired. We have one summer squash that is coming due right here. A lovely young plant. Oh, a second one has just popped. Look at that, right next to me. And a third. That is just today. Flowers were open this morning. Very good. If you ever want to see what the damage looks like from a vine borer, you can see how this vine is just matted and drying, and there is some of the material right there. You see that? That's vine borer excrement. There's more over here. See right there? And there. And there. So that's how you know if you've got vine borers. They're tough. If you want to do surgery, you can cut them out. I find that the success rate's very low, but small is better than nothing. We shoot a BT spray into them and try to work them that way, and that has been less than successful. It has prolonged the life of the vines, but it hasn't saved them. We have 22 butternut squash on the vine right now, and we're looking at several here that I think want to be harvested. This one may well be the candidate. You can see that here the stem is drying. It has still a hint of green, But when I do the fingernail test, it only leaves a mark, doesn't punch through very far. This one could be ready by Wednesday. There is another good candidate right there. Stalk is drying. Barely made a mark. We'll go to the oldest portion of the plant here. These two have a nice deep tan color. That's doing nothing to that one. It's beginning to go brown here. I think we're going to harvest this one. Now I'm just clearing away this dead bit of vine, and I'm going to go as high up as I can get here. There. That green will go away with curing. That is a little moist, so it's still a little early. Can you see it glistening there? Probably a few days early on this one. It's okay, it's all for teaching and science, right? That's nice, but it's not the color I want yet. All of these are so close here. Probably 14 or 15 that are within a week of coming due. And some of them are getting quite large. Just still a little green on the top. Now we have done fine work with those that are harvested just a wee bit early. And that's part of the curing process. We'll get it someplace where it's reasonably warm, good airflow on it, and out of intense heat or cold. Intense cold, we don't have to worry. We're in coastal Virginia. The nights are at about 70 to 74, and the days will be in the low 80s. So for right now, on a porch, screened in so pests don't get in. Also, what I will do is after I clean this one up is I will wash it in a 10% solution of bleach with water. Just use a sponge or a paper towel, and once it's clean, wipe it down, and that will take care of any mold or anything that might begin to destroy the skin and keep it from ripening. We'd hate for it to just go all moldy. So we've had a good day today. The butternut squash, which I was hoping to harvest, they're just not quite ready. And the last thing I'm going to show you is the compost bin. I added about 6 inches of compost to it 4 or 5 days ago. 4 days ago. Up to this level here. And it's only gone down maybe an inch or so. That means this bed is really consolidating underneath. And that means that it might be about time to close this one out. So we won't add any new material to it. We'll let this go for a couple of months. As long as the temperature's high, we'll leave it. But as the temperature falls down around to 100 degrees, we might want to turn this onto top of this existing compost here. This is probably less than a month to go. Take a look here and try not to disturb the spiders. I'll dig in a bit. It's actually cool to the touch. Now look at this beautiful, I'll get it out in the sun here. This beautiful brown color. Like I say, it smells like the hint of a forest floor. This is just about ready. This could be used. Price it sometime and you'll realize how much money you will save by making your own compost. And we still have about 30 cubic feet worth in here. This pile is beginning to build up, and we'll build it up more today. But we now have fertilizer to put down on the beds for autumn so that our autumn-winter crops will have extra food, extra resources. So the tomatoes are coming back, the squash are disappearing. We might save a few of the spaghetti squash. We'll have a wonderful harvest of pumpkins, of butternut squash. And today we will also be sowing seeds for the fall and winter garden. So a lot of leafy vegetables such as spinach, lettuces. We have a red and a green variety of lettuce that we'll do. So folks, please like, share, subscribe, be part of the family, and don't forget, with some work, you can grow your own food.